Flood Protection Secrets, the podcast to the protection against heavy rain and flooding by Dr. Flood, Andreas Klippe.
So the big challenge is, how can house owners like you and me get a flood-free home? How can business managers like you and me get a flood-free company? And how can public servants provide flood-free critical infrastructure and livable cities?
Flood Protection Secrets, the podcast by Dr. Flood, Andreas Klippe. This podcast is for foresighted and proactive people who do not want to shovel the muddy water out of their room while standing in the midst of the disaster.
Therefore, those who design and plan, the architects and engineers, need to construct such buildings and cities, and that even when the entire environment is completely flooded. That is a challenge, and this podcast will give the answers.
Flood Protection Secrets, the podcast by Dr. Flood, Andreas Klippe.
Yeah, I said last time Anthony was speechless because of the flood barrier price, and today we want to dig a little bit deeper, which were the reasons. So I mentioned already some in the last episode. Certainly the supplier who submitted a quotation to Anthony, the house owner in the Philippines, focused on the barriers because Anthony was asking for it, and I think so at least. And then Anthony exactly got what he was asking for. And I mentioned last time that is similar to building a house. You also start with having an idea, and then you get some prices perhaps from the internet or from the second-hand market. So you have the first idea about the price range, and then you go most probably to an architect and you will ask for a design, but the architect will not start drawing anything if you don't pay him. So you must pay him for his design. And then you get a first draft, and then you might change the draft, and you say, oh no, I don't like this living room like that. I want to put my sofa at this corner, and television should be there, and the window should be a little bit bigger. And then the architect has to make a revision, and he will charge you for this revision. And then you might perhaps not like the entrance door. You want to have a bigger door at the entrance instead of 86 centimeters opening width of a standard door. You want to have it wider and perhaps a big wooden one. Perhaps you say, oh, instead of 2.50 meters ceiling height, I want to have it 3 meters or 3.50. Oh, I like that. Then the architect has to change everything again, because that also plays a role on the whole construction, the stability of the building, and so on and so forth. But today we want to talk we want to talk about some details, because I said last time one thing what plays a role is first the type of barrier. Yeah, so that is one of the first things we have to decide. Let me even go one step backwards. I mentioned in our last episode that there are 3 possibilities to protect something from the danger of floods. That is a house itself, so you protect at the doors, at the windows, at any opening. Shafts leading to the basement perhaps. Then the garage, so you protect your garage from the front side, so where normally the opening is, where you drive in and drive out, and perhaps the side door as well. And or the garden, that means the whole lot. You protect the lot from the street side. So of course what you need is a stable fence. It's not a fence, what you need is a wall. A chicken wire will not be enough, because the water will find the way and will flood you. So of course you need a stable wall to stabilize it and make it really stable, because there was one example in a subdivision in the Philippines where the whole wall of the condominium area of the subdivision collapsed because this wall was not made to withstand the water pressure. And then, of course, the wall is collapsing. But that is another story. So it doesn't play any role which solution you choose, but we must know it. We must know, do you want to protect it from the house side? Do you want to protect the garage as well? So means at the building, or from the street means the whole lot. That is a fundamental decision, because it depends on how far is it away. Do we have to think about the public area in front of your lot? There is a pavement that belongs to the municipality, so you are not allowed to construct whatever it is. So all these things play a question, and how big, how huge is your lot? Will it be flooded? Even in case that you put barriers at the entrance to your lot. Because it just continues to rain. So, and if your lot is huge enough and the water cannot leave it anymore and everything is concealed with concrete, then of course it is like a swimming pool. It is like a bathtub and you fill in water. It's like your bathtub at home or in a hotel. Yeah, you open the faucet and you let the water flow, and of course you close the drainage. Then after a while, I don't know, perhaps 1 hour, half an hour, depends. Your bathtub is filled with water, and then it will overflow. And that is the same thing what will happen with your lot. That means at this moment you need a drainage system. You must pump out the water, because the drainage itself doesn't help you. But so these are fundamental questions. That is another story. Today we talk about the type of barriers, of flood barriers. And you must first understand, and that is what I also told to Anthony, the house owner, the homeowner, first, you must understand what type of barriers are available. But normally I don't start like that. I ask the customer always, what do you want to protect? And Anthony said, of course, my family in the house, and I want to protect my inventory. All my hard-earned money was spent for all the beautiful things inside, for the furniture, for television, for the kitchen, the accessories, the clothes, jewelry for the wife. And of course, I spent a lot of money for my beautiful car. So I said, okay, fine, I understand that. The next question is, do you want to protect it directly at the house? And his garden was not that big, was not a huge compound. It was a typical garden, perhaps 300 square meters or something like that. Not really huge. Even smaller. In the Philippines, the gardens, the lots are not really huge, unless you are very rich and you have a real huge compound. Then yes, the gardens are bigger. But that was not the case. So it was about, I think, 300 square meters, something like that. I said, okay, there are two possibilities. You can close the doors directly. So your main door, your terrace door, you have a side entrance as well. That is normally for a housemate. They have an extra entrance from the side of the building, and you can protect your garage. That is possible. But you can also do that from the garden, because he had already a very stable wall, very well done. So not this typical concrete one that was at the front side. It was even with bricks. So what is quite unusual in the Philippines, very often you simply have concrete, very ugly. It doesn't look good. But in good subdivisions, you don't have these front walls. You have nice fences as well, but you have these ugly walls at the left side, at the right side, at the back side. That's the first thing what these people are all doing. That has to do with safety, and it has also to do that the people don't want that anybody is watching in your house who you meet and in this and that. Anyway, other countries. So, and to take this decision, you must understand what kind of barrier types are existing and how you want to do that, because it has a consequence. So, the first thing is what I was explaining. Look, there are 4 different types of barriers. These are the portable barriers. You can transport them. You install them when you need them. Second group are doors and gates. The doors are flood doors and flood gates are installed. You just close them when you need them. Third group are automatic flood barriers. so they close automatically, or they operate automatically, and that can have there are different ways. So they move in a way. And the group number 4, these are permanent flood walls like glass walls. Yeah, okay, you might say glass walls for a private homeowner. That is ridiculous. No, it's not true. Because there are customers like that. Our friends from Flood Control International in the United Kingdom, they have equipped homeowners with a combination of glass walls and demountable flood barriers. You can also make a combination with doors and glass walls. Why glass walls? Because the moment the people don't want to have these ugly concrete walls, because you feel like in jail, then you decide to go for glass walls. Yeah, okay. So these are the four groups: portable flood barriers, flood doors, flood gates, and automatic flood systems, flood protection systems, or flood barrier systems, and permanent flood barrier systems. So what's the difference? So let's start with these portable ones. I explained to Anthony, look, Anthony, you asked me whether you protect your main door and your garage with barriers, or you protect your lot from the street side. And the most common one are demountable flood barriers. So these demountable flood barriers are aluminum profiles. They are hollow. They are sturdy. They should be sturdy. So there are different things you have to consider. I don't want to mention now all things like the sheet thickness of the aluminum that plays a role. The thickness of the profile plays a role. For instance, the RS Demountable Flood Barriers have 67 millimeters of thickness. That makes a difference to a flood barrier that is only 25 millimeters thick. Which one is more sturdier? Which one will resist an impact of floating debris or a huge wave? I recently saw a flood door that was in Qatar, and there was a huge flooding in October 27, 2023. And I have visited this basement just some weeks after, because this basement was flooded by about 4 meters, and that happened within 1 hour only. So. And then I saw all the damages, and these were damaged cars. So there were 35 damaged cars in total, and I could still see some 3 or 4 were still standing there. And I saw Mercedes completely damaged. You can't imagine how dirty and damaged such a car can be. But what was shocking me more was this double leaf door. So I think the height was 3 meters or something like that. Or even more, at least 3 meters, and 2 leaves, so left and right side. And this door was open, and one side, the right side, was completely damaged, as if the Incredible Hulk would have boxed inside. Yeah, so I made a photo about that, and perhaps I make a video about it one day. And it is incredible, and incredible how intensive the impact of the flood wave was. And now imagine this, and that it can demolish a sturdy, heavy-duty double leaf door in such a way. And that was not only damaged a little bit, that was really damaged in a way that you can really throw it away. That was like the Incredible Hulk is just boxing inside. And that is what you have to consider. And now imagine you have a flood barrier system with a thickness of 25 millimeters or 35 millimeters, and there's another one with 67. So which one is more resistant when it comes to an impact of a wave, a flood wave, or impact of floating debris? That is the next, because 1,000 things are swimming around. The cars were swimming around, by the way. You can imagine 4 meters of water. Everything is swimming inside. Before it's falling down. No, after a while, there was damage really everywhere. So that is a demountable flood barrier, and they can be inserted into side channels, inside a door opening or in front of a door opening. So surface mounted at the wall of your building. Or surface mounted at the garage of your building. You can also insert it recess mounted. That means inside the door frame. It's not the door frame because you still have your door. You want to use your door. It's just in front. So you need enough space. So the wall must be thick enough. Then it's also possible. Yes, you can also do that from inside, but nobody would do that in a house because the house doors are always opening to the inner side. Then you cannot open your door anymore. Of course, you protect it from outside. That makes sense because the water pressure is coming from outside. And that is the right location to install flood barriers. But I just want to mention these things are possible. Yes, and you can also do that with an L shape and U shape in front because fire exit doors are swinging to the outer side. That is a big difference, but we are talking about a private house. A private house is normally not having fire exit doors. But that is for industrial buildings. Then you must enclose this fire exit door that it still can swing out to the outer side. So the easy thing is you make a barrier shape of a kind of U shape or C shape that the door can still swing outside. The people can leave in case of emergency. It's another topic. So in this case, you install the barriers and front to the door. That's possible. And the alternative, and then you store them. You can hang them at the wall. You can store them in a box, in a crate. You can store them at a centralized warehouse for bigger houses, bigger systems. You should think about a storage system, of course. And what else? Then you can consider not to protect at your main door, at your side door and your garage. You can protect it like what another customer was doing. That was not Anthony. It was another customer with a BMW and a Mercedes in the Philippines in a rich subdivision, and he protected his house with 3 entrances, 2 gates, and a main door from the street side with demountable flood barriers at the street side. So he preferred this solution. And all the barriers are stored close to every entrance. Normally, the distance between the entrances at in a house at a lot are not that huge. That means everything is close to each other, so it's not that far away. When you compare that with with a hotel, 5-star hotel, huge hotel with 500 beds. And we have had such an installation, so 67 entrances, and this hotel just had 400 meters length at every side, so 400, 1.6 kilometers was a perimeter. You can imagine about the distances. And including basement parkings, 5 basement parkings. So that means at this moment you must decide wisely what kind, where you store the demountable flood barriers. So it makes sense to store them at every entrance that they are ready to use in case of emergency in the middle of the night, 24/7, 365 days a year. So in this case, for our homeowner, Anthony, so that was one possibility. The other possibility is to protect the house from the street side by closing, like what the other customer has done in the subdivision, with the 2 gates and the main door. But I'm explaining what kind of barriers you have. So another barrier are these INERO Mobile Flood Barriers. INERO Mobile Flood Barriers, or INERO Mobile Flood Barriers, I always say INERO. INERO Mobile Flood Barriers are a very, very good product. They come from Sweden, and you can install them without any civil works and on every ground. Every ground means along the street. You can put it in your huge garden. If you have a huge garden and you want to redirect the water, that it is not flowing exactly to your house, and you can work with the slope of your lot. That is important, because every barrier needs to have a beginning and an end. And these mobile flood barriers are not made to protect an individual door entrance. They are made for longer distances, for longer opening widths, longer lengths, and normally they need also a wall fastener at the left side and a wall fastener at the right side. Clear that no water can pass by and pass through it. And these INERO Mobile Flood Barriers have a huge advantage, because you can put them on gravel, on asphalt, on concrete, on sand, on every soil. Even with curbstones, you can consider that. There's no problem with it. I just visited our customers in Qatar at Qatar Foundation and in front of the Qatar National Convention Center in Doha. So whoever is in Doha right now, because they are still in the monsoon time, that is a rainy season over there, these barriers are partly installed. So you just go to the National Convention Center in Doha, and there's almost 1 kilometer of these barriers installed. And that has a huge advantage, because to protect at this Qatar National Convention Center every single entrance, it's quite difficult, because there's a lot of glass facades and swing doors and this and that. So that's quite complicated. So the Qatar Foundation decided to protect the whole building with these INERO Mobile Flood Barriers. So good decision. So these were the portable systems, and now let's move to the doors and gates. I think I talk about the doors and gates next time, because that was quite a lot of stuff today. So we were talking about Anthony and his private house, and then I talked a little bit about the Qatar National Convention Center with the INERO Mobile Flood Barriers. That is, these were the two types: the RS Demountable Flood Barriers or Demountable Flood Barriers, the INERO Mobile Flood Barriers. Yes, there are also other mobile flood barriers. But in another episode, I will tell why I am choosing the INERO Mobile Flood Barriers. And for me, these are the best mobile flood barriers in the world, because you can store up to 100 meters in one crate, size of an office table, 100 meters, and you can use them up to 100 years with good maintenance. And the installation of 700 meters is done in 4 hours. Imagine that, 700 meters in 4 hours. Somebody should tell to the people here in Germany during the last flooding, when they're all shoveling the sand and putting the sand in the sandbags, hey guys, it's much easier to put a flood wall. So that's what we're going to do. So these are the mobile flood barriers, and we call all together portable ones, because you can transport them and put them at the place of the openings where you want to protect yourself against the danger of flooding. Yeah, that's it for today. In the next episode, I talk about flood doors and flood gates. And then, we talk about automatic systems and permanent glass vaults for all who love glass. That reminds me to go to the aquarium again and, watch to all the nice fishes over there, because that is similar to flood walls made by glass. That's it for today. Thank you for listening. And as always, stay safe and flood free. I wish and hope for you that you make the right decisions when it comes to your personal flood protection. And if you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to this podcast channel if you haven't already. Now it only remains for me to wish you a good day. Do something with it. Maybe until the next podcast episode. I would be very happy. See you then. As always, stay safe and flood free. Your Andreas Klippe and the whole Flood Experts team.
That's it again with a new episode of Flood Protection Secrets, the podcast by Dr. Flood, Andreas Klippe, German engineer, book author, and head of the flood experts. What can Dr. Flood, Andreas Klippe, protect for you? Anytime? Worldwide? Contact us or just click through to www.thefloodexperts.de/bonus. Detailed engineering, German quality, safe, flood protection secrets, the secrets you'll want to unfold.
Don't forget, you're only one flood barrier away.
Subscribe to the season, and you'll never be late for an episode.